Uh-oh. I didn't put my twinkle lights on. Oh, better. Much better.
You can't see those at
all.
all.
Oh, no!
Like, not even remotely.
Oh! What did I know? Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games
and
snapshots.
Exactly.
Ba-ja!
Oh my god, you scared me, which is fitting because I'm wearing my Halloween scary shirt. Anyways, we are here back again for a board game snapshot.
Ba-ja!
That's better, Jeff. Thank you.
Ba-ja!
For anybody that doesn't know, our board game snapshot videos are a series of videos where we do mini board game reviews. And today we have 5 board game reviews for you, along with one board gamey thing, dice.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay, so without further ado, we should just get into it. But before we start, everything that we're talking about today was sent to us, okay? So just so you know, everything sent to us for review. The first game that we are going to talk about today is Draft and Write Records from Inside Up Games. Once again, was sent to us for review from Inside Up Games, so thank you to Inside Up Games. You know, Inside Up Games, they make that game called Earth. You heard of it? You heard of it? Well, guess what? They make this game too, and it is breaking records. Probably, should be. Draft and Write Records is a draft and write game. I don't actually know if they're breaking records. I just think they should be.
I was just thinking there's no breaking records in the game either.
Anyways, in Draft and Write Records, this is a draft and write game where everybody is going to get a hand of 5 cards, and you're going to have a sheet in front of you, much like a typical roll and write, but the difference is here you get a pencil and 4 colored pencils, blue, red, purple, yellow. And what you're doing on your turn is you are choosing one of the cards from your hand, and then you are going to do whatever that card says on your little map. There's a lot of different areas on the map. One of them, the most important section, is for crew. So you need like you need a lead singer, you need like a guitarist, you need...
well, instruments. Instruments. Doesn't have to be guitars.
That's right, but the cymbal's a guitar. You need crew people, you need other publicity people, and you need to get as many as you can. And the really cool part about that is basically on these cards there's like 4 different colors, and when you put them onto the sheet you fill in those 4 colors, and if you get a line with color pencils. You call them pencil crayons?
I did, yeah.
That's weird.
I know, it's weird.
You don't do that.
I know. I grew up them being called pencil crayons.
Yes, I can see that's a New Brunswick thing, I think. Anyways, if you create a match, like a yellow that connects to another yellow, well, guess what, my friend? We're in harmony.
We are.
You'll love to see it.
And you get bonus.
Jeff and I did not make a lot of harmonies today when we played it, let me tell you. And then you get a harmony bonus. It's very combo-y. So one section is the crew, which allows you to also create harmonies. Another section is assets, and you're just going to be basically crossing those off, and anytime you kind of surround a bonus, then you get that bonus. Another section is the agenda section. You are trying to get like rows and columns in order to get double bonuses. There's also a tour that you're going on, going to different places, trying to get points. Basically, everything that you're doing is eventually going to give you some different bonuses, which you're going to be able to combo off of each other, and there are some very combo-rific turns that can happen in this game. The theme is music, records.
Oh, yeah, like a band label.
Exactly,
thing.
like a band. Have you seen School of Rock? It's basically this game. So you're going to pick a card, pass your hand, and continue to do that until you only have 2 cards in your hand. You're going to do the action, and then you're going to do what is called the weekend phase. So you do a week, and then you do a weekend where you're going to be scoring goals. The game can end in one of 3 ways. Either somebody's completed their whole crew, somebody's completed their whole row of scandal fails, whoops, or somebody has completed their roll of like special points, which is getting points through goal cards. The game plays relatively quickly, and you can play it 1 to 4 players. I have played it solo. The solo game is very similar, but you don't really have like the week and weekend phases. Instead, you have option A to pull cards or option B to pull cards and then check a goal, basically. With all that being said, I freaking love this game. I played it last night on I played it last night solo on one of those like lap trays, and it fit on the lap tray. It was great. So you could definitely play this while traveling. Just FYI. What did you think?
Two things I want to say.
Yeah.
One, I've mentioned on the channel before that roll-in rights, drafting rights, etc. and rights can get too far on the comboiness level for me. Fleet, etc. This one hit that sweet spot again, where it's not too much that you lose track of all the combos.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. The map is laid out pretty well. So there's not so much going on that you get kind of lost in the combos, which is my problem with some of those bigger ones.
Yep.
This one does not do that. And two, I really, really did enjoy how they added the color combo mechanism to the game. So it's not just getting like traditional draft and right or end right combos where it's like, okay, well, this symbol means I can cross this off in this section. There's also this color grid comboiness that happens that I thought was really, really unique and interesting.
Yeah. Two things. I misspoke earlier. I said 1 to 4. It's 1 to 6 players, just FYI. But if you're concerned about if you struggle with colors, all of the colors also have a corresponding shape. So if you're like, oh, well, you know, I'm colorblind or I can't like see certain colors very well, there are shapes that you can go off of. So it shouldn't be an issue for you. But yeah, I'm super pumped about this game. We were really excited when it showed up. I've heard a lot of good things.
I've heard some good things, and it delivered.
A+.
First up on my end, we might as well talk about Salton Sea from Devir Games.
Yes.
Salton Sea is a tableau builder where you are basically mining for resources.
Yeah.
You are a geothermal company.
Yes.
And you are mining for different resources in order to produce energy.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, there's 3 types of resources.
Your whole board area is basically you running this company. So you have like a bunch of drilling equipment, you have workers, and it's this really combo-iness game where you're playing out cards that represent kind of like your mine shafts that you're drilling down into, and if you hit certain levels of like rock, you can break your equipment, break your drill, and that will, you know, trigger a track on your board. But ultimately what you're trying to do is manage and manipulate your board through this kind of unique card play. So you're going to be like kind of drafting cards from this area that might, you know, upgrade your drill, or it might, you know, let you drill a new well section, that sort of thing. And all of these well sections have different types of assets on them. You can trade these in to get more beneficial types of resources that you can then spend to upgrade your abilities. Yeah. And then you're basically just racing for points.
Yeah. It's like major resource management, like lots of puzzliness within it. And the other thing, it has multi-purpose cards. Yeah. So you get these cards into your hand, and one side it has like a value, like a money value that you can use to spend to buy other cards, or you can choose to use it for its ability. If you spend it, it's gone. If you use it for the ability, then you get it back. Yep. So there's just, this game is like management on steroids.
This game is, it's a smaller tableau in front of you, but man, there is a lot going on and a lot you need to manage. Like, it felt like kind of like that Kanban, like, thematic kind of like process-oriented management system. Exactly. But in a much smaller footprint.
Yeah, and basically, like, you're trying to fill contracts, and like we mentioned before with the resource management, like, there's almost like a hierarchy of these resources. I forget what the lowest one is, but like, if you spend so many of this, then you can...
Lime? No,
not limestone. I don't know.
Is it limestone?
It's not.
Brine.
Brine.
Brine is the basic one.
Basic brine. You're a basic brine. Then
lithium.
Lithium.
Geothermal energy.
Geothermal energy.
That's what you're trying to. You're a geothermal.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's like limited to how much you can have until you upgrade it. And then there's like research that you could. There is so. Like, Devir, small box, massive game. There's so much going on in this game. It is very brain-burning, AP-inducing, I would say, for sure.
And it is not a short game.
It is not a short game. So we played this...
Do not let the size of the box...
No, it says...
It's 2 hours.
Yeah, 120 minutes on the box. So we played this with Nick when he came to visit. And I personally really enjoyed it. I got my engine going pretty good, and I was going after larger contracts so that I could score bigger instead of doing a bunch of like smaller contracts. So I got my engine working pretty decent. How did you find?
Yeah, so I had a bit of an issue with this game when we played it, which I think is just a me strategy problem. It's not a problem with the game, but this is definitely a game that if you get behind, it is very, very difficult to get back into the game. I made some poor decisions at the beginning of the game. Money is a very hard resource to come across in this game. And if you run out of it, it is very hard to get out of that hole. So this is one I want to return to because now that I have that knowledge, I feel like it would be a different experience the next time. But again, if that bothers you, might be something worth, considering. But again, I think that just gets better with repeat plays and understanding the synergies and the strategies.
For sure. And I would say, like, I don't think I would want to play this at more than 2 again. I'm glad that we did it, but it is just, I don't think adding more players adds anything to the game because you're really just kind of working on your own thing. It's a bit of a solitaire kind of experience. There's things that you can do, but for the most part, a bit of a solitaire experience. So I just think...
I would agree with that. I think
keep the time down.
Yeah.
Because by the end, we were
It was a long game.
Yeah. So that's Salton Sea from Devir.
And that being said, though, I didn't, again, my fault. I didn't think it was going to be that long.
Me either.
Like,
I did
because
not.
other Devir games like White Castle, Bamboo, etc., like, those are quicker games.
Quicker than that, for
like,
sure.
This... You're
it's
diving
a beefy
in.
Boy.
Yep.
Okay, we are going to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of this video, which is Cephalofair Games.
Wow, Cephalofair. Now they produce some big stuff.
You know
but
what?
Not this time.
They produce some big stuff, but you know what they are doing is producing some littler.
Can you tell me more?
I would love to tell you more. Jeff, have you heard of Frosthaven?
I have.
Have you heard of Gloomhaven?
Yes, indeed.
Have you heard of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion?
Yep.
Okay.
Wait. Yep.
But do you want something even smaller?
I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Well, have you heard of Buttons and Bugs? Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs?
Buttons and Bugs? No, I haven't.
Buttons and Bugs. Okay, so
What's Buttons and Bugs?
Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs is the newest addition to the Gloomhaven family that is bringing you the Gloomhaven experience in a teeny little box.
For Buttons and Bugs.
For Buttons and Bugs. Now, this Gloomhaven experience you can play in about like 20 minutes. They say that you're going to be able to play it on a coffee table, nay, an end table, nay.
What about an airplane tray?
It's like you read my mind, Jeff. You could play this on a freaking airplane tray. So it is giving you a Gloomhaven experience that you can play in a shorter amount of time in a smaller amount of space. So realistically, it's just a lower commitment overall. If you're like, I'd like to dip my toes into Gloomhaven, well, guess what? Now you can dip. So watch me dip.
I have a question.
Watch me nay. Yeah?
One thing people love about Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, are the miniatures.
Yep.
So
micro minis.
Are they gone?
No, micro minis. There are 6 unique mercenaries that you can play.
Micro.
And they are micro. They do come with micro minis.
Do you remember Micro Machines?
I do not.
We have to have a conversation.
Okay, we'll have a conversation after this about micro machines. So there are 6 unique mercenaries, each with a micro mini, 8 double-sided ability cards, 22 scenario cards, mini battle maps, 30 condition tokens, 10 double-sided monster stat cards featuring 20 different foes, and more. So if you are interested in Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, and honestly, why wouldn't you be?
Exactly.
Right? You can check a few different places. You can go directly to the Cephalofair website, check your friendly local gaming store, or...
Where else?
Down in our description, there's a link.
There is a link.
Which is probably going to direct you to the Cephalofair website. Right?
Making it easy.
We're making it easy,
folks.
Making it easy for you. So shout out to Cephalofair for sponsoring this video, and we are very much so looking forward to Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs because...
What is it?
Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs?
Say it 3 times fast.
Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs.
Buttons and Bugs.
Let's high five about it. I'm freaking excited because I love small versions of things.
I'm interested in these micro mini things. Man,
I'm interested in the fact that we can play this on an airplane because we do have a trip coming.
Everybody calm down.
I can't. Okay, so the next game that we have in our lineup for today is Bark Avenue, which was sent to us for review from Good Games Publishing, and this game was designed by our lovely friends Jonathan and Mackenzie from TerraDice Games. And if you didn't know, now you know. And also, I do have to be honest. Of all the games that we own,
in the multiple years we've been in this hobby,
our dog,
the first time this has ever happened.
Our dog has never eaten a board game. But it's as if she saw this box and she just thought, I might like to take a bite out of that.
Thematic.
How thematic. Juno literally took a bite out of this board game box.
She sure did.
Anyways, that's just such a classic dog move. All right. Bark Avenue is a game about being a dog walker in New York City. New York City. Jackie Daytona. Yep, that song plays as soon as you open the box. Well, ours used to until Juno ate it. Anyways, you are a dog walker in New York City. So basically, this is kind of like a pick up and deliver style game and action kind of selection. So on your turn, you're going to roll a die. And the die is going to depend on where you are in the city. Are you in a park or are you in the city? Okay, and then you roll that corresponding die, do what it says. Maybe a dog's going to poop. One can only hope.
Yeah.
Wasn't happening for us.
We couldn't get the doggos to poopos.
Oh my God, they just weren't having it, okay?
They peed a lot.
One of the sides, yeah, they pee, and guess what? You don't get nothing if they pee.
Dogs
pee. Juno pees at least 75 times on like a 15-minute walk. It's insane. Yeah. One might be that you get to move a little bit faster, and then there's also a squirrel and a pigeon that's going to make you have to force you to take a certain direction when you walk. So you roll the die, do whatever it says, then you're going to walk. Now you're going to have dogs that you're walking, and you can walk as fast as your slowest dog. So they each have a speed on them. You're just walking around New York doing stuff. Then after you do your movement, you can do an action.
Yep.
An action might be to pick up a dog if you're in that location and there's one available. It might be to drop off a dog if you have a dog that's done its walkies. You've done everything. It's finished its walkies. You can drop them off. Or you can do one of the space's action, which could be to do one of their favorite activities, which might be fetch or peeing on a fire hydrant or splish splashing in the water. Juno's would definitely be fetch.
You can get coffee.
You can get coffee. Absolutely.
You can get dog treats?
Dog treats, for sure. And you want dog treats because some of the dogs have restrictions.
They do.
Last night we played, and Jeff kept picking up solo dogs who hated other dogs.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our real life, because Juno is definitely a solo dog.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can kind of block off of those restrictions.
Yeah.
So basically, you're doing all of this, and then you're moving your little dog token, because each dog needs to go for a certain length of walk. Once they've had enough, then you have to take them home and drop them off, basically. Then you're going to get money. So each dog is worth a certain amount of money. You get tips for all of the great things that you do with your dogs. You get review stars, which are going to unlock different things. Every round is kind of tracked by the sun token, and something like an event is going to happen or new dogs are going to come out. But in a nutshell, that's the game.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a relatively lightweight game, so really welcoming, super easy for people to get into. I love the theme so much. Jeff and I were just looking at all the dog cards. Our best friend Beasley was in there, little Beesies, which is Tyler and Ilya's dog, whom we love.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just really cute, and it was super fun, and I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I think for lighter pickup and delivery games, it was great. It had enough kind of little like nuggets to it to keep it interesting, like with the dice that you had to roll, even though I kept rolling the P side, which doesn't do anything. I also did like that there was a bunch of these different burrows that you have to go to in order to like pick dogs up and drop them off, and then there's the whole like central park area, which has a whole different dice attached to it with different abilities and everything.
Golden poop.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I really liked
it
it too.
time.
There's a lot of people, we posted this on Instagram, there was a bunch of people asking like, oh, I've been on the fence. Like, just know it is a lighter game. So if you're looking for a super heavy, crunchy game, then this isn't it. But if you play with like a lot of different people, it would be super easy and welcoming for anybody to kind of get into.
This is a good coffee game.
This is a great coffee game.
It is a good coffee game.
And I just think it is a very cozy game. So like if you're just looking for something that you kind of want to chill night, play a game with cute dogs,
it's got a great theme that a lot of people would connect with.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So that's Bark Avenue.
Next up for me, we have from Board and Dice, Barcelona.
Barcelona. I put the lid on upside down, Jeff.
In Barcelona, you are basically going to be building out Barcelona. You're going to be doing that by placing out new buildings, new park areas. You're going to be building out infrastructure for like trains and movement and that sort of thing. And ultimately what you're trying to do is control these little like boroughs and make them as lucrative or not, depending on how you decide to build, because this is themed around a important architect that was involved in the development of Barcelona. I cannot pronounce his first or last name, but I think the last name is Cerda. And ultimately, he had a specific vision for the way he wanted Barcelona to look.
Like this.
But it was pushed back on by some of the upper class folks. There's kind of this Cerda track, and if you do things that were kind of in line with his...
If you please, Cerda.
with his vision, you're going to kind of score some bonus points, multipliers, that sort of thing. Or you can go in a completely different direction and not do any of that and still score a bunch of points, because there's a bunch of points you can score for like bigger building types with not having parks next to them and that sort of thing. So you have this little like tableau in front of you, and all of this tableau has a bunch of different pieces on it that you can put out on the board. You have these discs that represent your color, and you can kind of like pile those up depending on the levels that you're building up in this city of Barcelona. But realistically, what you're doing is going along with your tableau, putting out building types, putting out trams, putting all of these things. There's a bunch of different tracks you can go up, depending on what type of person you're attracting to your buildings. And all of those are going to score differently. There's a ton of ways to score points in this game. It's kind of pointality that way. But it's a city builder with some tableau management, the easiest way I can put it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this game. It is a pretty it's a relatively crunchy game, like most of the Board and Dice games are, because there's also there's almost like this grid thing that you have that you're uncovering these tiles, and you can place them to then gain bonuses, and you can also build buildings on your own player board. That's how I crushed in this game.
Yeah, you did.
I just gotta say. So I really enjoyed the game. But I went for a totally different route than Nick and Jeff did. So I was like building out these like buildings on my player board, which was giving me all of these extra bonuses and giving me all these extra points. Whereas Jeff and Nick were really kind of focused on building out like tram lines and like all of these different things. There are so many things that you can do in this game. This is definitely one of those games where it's like, pick two things. Pick two.
Pick something to be really good at and stick with it.
Exactly. But I really, really liked it. This has been sitting on our shelf for so long, and Nick taught it to us. And it is one of those games where there's so much in it that I'm like forgetting half of it because there were just so many things. All I know is that I really enjoyed it, and I built a bunch of buildings, and I really want to play it again.
Yeah,
it's really pretty.
I also enjoyed it. It's got a pretty wide decision space. As Jamie mentions, there's a bunch of different things you can do, but it's very beautiful,
so pretty.
which is a good representation of Cerda's vision, I think.
Yeah. Let's talk about another little sponsor of this game. Another sponsor of this video is Doomlings. So we are going to chat about Doomlings as more of a preview versus a review, just kind of letting you know a little bit about it. But Doomlings has been out for a couple of years now, and this is definitely one of those like mass market card games that gets people into this hobby. So basically, in this game, it's the end of the world as we know it.
It is.
And I freaking feel fine about it, okay? So at the beginning of the game, you are building out an age deck. And in that age deck, you are going to have different catastrophes that could potentially come up.
3 of them?
There are 3 catastrophes, exactly. So you build out the deck, which is kind of like the timer of the game. And once the 3rd catastrophe gets revealed, the game is going to end. So essentially what you do is you flip over a card. It is going to give you something that the age is telling you to do. So there's certain traits you can't play, or you have to knock down your gene pool, whatever. So you do whatever that says. Then each person is going to take their turn. So on your turn, you play a trait card from your hand. You have a hand full of different trait cards, all different colors. There's 5 colors with different values, and some of them have effects, some of them have instant actions, some of them have actions that you can play out on somebody else's turn, but you're basically picking a card from your hand, playing it, and doing whatever it says, so long as that falls in line with what the age card says. Then the next person is going to go, and they're going to do the exact same thing. In this game, every player has what is called a gene pool. So it's a little card in front of them, and that's basically your hand limit. So once you play a card, then you're going to sustain. So let's just say your gene pool is at 6, you have 5 cards in hand, you have to draw a card. If your gene pool is at 6 and you have 7 cards, you have to discard a card. And you're going to continue doing that, comboing different cards off of each other, potentially messing with what other people have.
Yeah, like be like me and get a T-Rex out.
Yeah, Jeff got a T-Rex, which I was really hoping that I would get, but I didn't. And you're going to continue doing that until the 3 catastrophes come up. Now, when a catastrophe comes up, it's going to wreak a little bit of havoc. Usually, they're going to knock down your gene pools. You're going to end up having to get rid of cards. There's some bad effects that are going to happen. It might even be like you can't play blue traits until the next catastrophe, like whatever it might be.
What happens after the 3rd catastrophe, Danny?
It's the end of the world.
It is.
World end happens. So once you get to that 3rd catastrophe, you are going to resolve world end, and there's like a series of things that you're going to need to do, most of which are, you know, not so great.
Yeah.
You might have to get rid of some stuff once again. Then the game is over, and you are just scoring the points in front of you.
Very straightforward.
It's very straightforward, but it is definitely kind of like silly fun. So if you are looking to get into board games, number one, if you have friends who are not already in the hobby, this is a fantastic game to have. Like if you have friends who like games such as Exploding Kittens, like that style of game, this is definitely kind of like almost a next step.
Yeah, this one felt a little bit more gamery.
It definitely did. And it's like, there's a holographic T-Rex card. I believe that there's expansions and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Very cute.
Yeah.
So that is Doomlings. Now, if you're interested in Doomlings, we are going to make sure to have all of the descriptions, everything that you need down below, and enjoy the end of the world as we know it.
All right, last up for this video is something a little bit different.
Yeah.
One thing we've probably never mentioned, I don't think. One thing we do love about this space, this hobby space, and truly, genuinely love, is dice.
I love dice.
It's not down here. Ooh.
Our dice box?
Is it full? No. Our dice box is upstairs.
Our dice box is
We
upstairs.
have
a collection.
A lot of dice.
Let's just call it a collection.
So, for you today, we have another dice collection.
Yeah.
To show you. That is Magiseven. Comes in a really nice box.
So these dice were sent to us for review, just FYI. They let us pick which set we wanted.
You ready?
Came with a bag.
You can't really see.
They're
real hefty.
Yeah, they're genuine gemstone dice.
People probably know what I mean when sometimes you buy like these kind of like colorful dice. They're a bit lighter, almost not plasticky, but they're not hefty. They don't feel hefty in your hands.
Yeah,
these are
hefty.
These have some weight to them.
Give me one. Ooh. Yeah, so we ended up, so these are genuine gemstone. We ended up getting the blue sandstone. They have a ton of different options, so like kind of whatever you like. But Jeff and I just love dice. Get the dice tower.
The other thing I'll mention too quickly before I get the dice tower is like sometimes too, like we've gotten some glass cut ones that are really sharp.
Too sharp.
These are not. Like they do have a bit of sharpness to them, but not near, definitely more rounded than some of the other ones.
Yeah, so these would be obviously perfect for if you play RPG
Oh, do you want me to pull out the Rathskeller's dice tower?
Yes, please. People can't see it. Let's put it up here. Just to listen to it, Jeff, drop them all in.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're letting me do it.
Go for it. Well, that sounded nice.
Woo!
No nat 20s?
No nat 20s.
We got an 18, though. An 80?
Yeah, that's 100 die.
That's fancy. So, if you play RPGs, if you play something like D&D and you're looking for a new set of fancy dice.
They're really sparkly.
Yeah, we really like them. So, we just have this one set. We hope to get more. You'll love to hear it.
Let's do this until we get a nat 20. Just kidding. Oh my god, just kidding, you didn't get it. You got a 1.
I got a 1. Anyways, those are the
and it comes with a little,
dice, and it comes a little bag.
Little bag.
So many different options for you to choose from. It's, it's kind of hard to do a review on dice, but we like these dice.
I mean, speaking other than, they're dice.
Yeah.
The function is always going to be the same.
They do roll.
These do feel like a good quality dice.
Cool.
Like they're hefty, and they're not, they got nice smooth edges. The writing is clear.
Yeah.
And they're not overly sharp. And they have a nice little sparkle to them.
Yeah, they don't cut us, which is nice.
They don't cut our fingers.
And I do think, like, when you're playing D&D, sometimes when you're, like, in character and you have to roll, like, having a die that kind of goes with your character is really cool. Like, when we used to play, I was playing, like, a rogue assassin, and so I had, like, colors that I thought went with my character, and then these ones, like the gemstones.
These seem like something that would be like a wizard would have.
Yeah,
like
the ones specifically that we have, but like there's so many different ones you get. They also have glass ones. So anyways, the links for these are also going to be in the description if you're interested. I was just, sometimes companies reach out to you and they're like, do you want to try this? And we're like, sure. And we did. And I was like, we got them, we opened them, and I was like, whoa. I was genuinely impressed. And it comes with this cool bag. So if you're interested in some dice, I would recommend
Links
those.
down below.
Links down below. So that was a lot of different things that we talked about today. What an exciting snapshot video, right?
We out here.
We out here. Now, if you're interested in buying board games like any of the many we mentioned today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is...
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Heck yeah, it is like snacks.
I do.
Perfect. Where do people even get
Munch
snacks?
Pack.
Munch Pack. That's right. They do have snacks.
They do.
They do.
A lot of them.
They have so many. And if you like what you see...
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye!
Later days.
Jeff and I going shopping tomorrow. And I'm getting a new camera. Ooh, Halloween in the spring. We need a light behind Marky the cat because he looks absolutely ridiculous. What?
Where are you?
Bye.
Drill. Acquire a drilling license. Extract.
It's too late. I can't. Okay.
It's too lit.
It's too lit.
Is that what you said?
No, too late. But it is too lit.
I think it says
Let's
too
be
lit.
honest. All right, too lit to quit. Too legit. Too legit to quit. Next.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.